Wow.
Welcome to some episode of some show. I'm some guy. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm good. You sure you're not Dave in this instance?
Listen, I'm phoning it in, man.
I'm missing that big Arthur energy. Where is it, mate? Come on.
It's not here this week.
So, I guess I'll just talk about what I've been playing. Diablo 2, Resurrected. Boys, men. Well, all the boys in the chat who are now men would have played the original version of Diablo 2. Yeah.
And it's superior battle net connection where you could actually see your character, and like StarCraft characters showed up, like people who were on StarCraft, whether they were on Brood War or not, would show up as like Hydralisks and stuff. Yeah. I know about BattleNet. I know about Diablo 2.
So so I was like, man, I don't know. I was one of those guys who was like, I'll never buy a remaster. And then this fucking game came out. And the reason why I love this game so much, this is like one of my top games of all time. I played it religiously until I was physically incapable of playing it anymore because of the fact that technology got way too good. I'm not going to, play an 800 by 600 game on a 4K monitor. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not going to do that. Sounds like a terrible idea. So I just stopped playing.
Windowed mode.
No, please, no.
So
this is the problems people with 4K monitors have to face.
Yeah,
playing Windows 95 games.
And I don't even know if it would work on Windows 10 now. I mean, it might. I don't know. They probably have a GOG version of it or something like that running around. But
just because there's a GOG version doesn't mean it's actually gonna fucking work.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. Yeah,
like my boy Ground Control.
So I got it, and I was like, man, you know what? I'm not gonna fall on old habits. But as soon as that character screen loaded up, Paladin.
That's why you have a fast attack weapon. Yep, you're doing the massive speed HP drain.
The zealous build.
Yeah, just like me. Yep. Yeah. All right, we're on the same fucking wavelength on this one.
Yeah, we are. All three of us.
I like the auras though, so that when you play with your friends, you let them go absolutely fucking ape shit.
Yep. But what's that? You're going to hit level 40 and move into Hamadin? Of course I will. Are you kidding me? Man, that game just... but I'm playing single player right now because all of my friends that I played the game with, they're back in Australia, so internet connection would suck donkey balls. But I do have the ability in single player to simulate the game for 8 people being in it, which is like real nice to just speed things along, So I just beat the Countess and I'm like level 23, some stupid shit like that because of the increased XP and stuff. So, good times. But yeah. That's really all about it.
Okay.
I guess. I mean,
Hondo, what do you got?
Nothing much. I've been just working on putting stuff down onto paper. Well, digital paper on the XCOM to tabletop RPG stuff. I have no idea how far through it I am in it. I've gotten probably about 6 or 7 pages done out of whatever.
infinite.
Huh?
Infinite pages.
Yeah. And that's been it so far. Nothing else has really happened this past week. Well, aside from recording Ranch Simulator, which I'm working on, editing that up. So, yeah, that's been me.
All right, we're doing a fast one here. Which reminds me, Big Spoon, you're the only one that hasn't checked in with me about Dawn Agreement.
Sure.
We should sit down sometime this week.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
just finish
I
up,
did.
talk
I didn't
about
know that I had to check in with you.
Yeah,
about
no.
that.
We got to talk about your character, what your storyline's going to look like, and
Okay.
your scheduling.
Sure.
Everyone else here has done it.
Well, I wasn't sure. I didn't know that we were at that point.
I think I sent a Discord message saying that.
Okay, let me check my Discord messages here from APGamingREAL.
Yeah, in the Dawn Agreement channel.
There's your first mistake. You assume Big Spoon reads.
I
wow. Some real
see
shit
a
talk.
very large conversation about whips and why they're
That has nothing to do with me. Look, you can't share that private information with people, okay?
Look, man, a whip has a extra 5 foot range.
Whoa, listen. I'm not kink shaming, but we don't need to discuss this part.
I mean, the damage is subpar, but with the reach,
But it's finessable as
Yeah.
well. So if you got a good dex, you get your dex to the damage.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it's a great dex weapon. If you don't want to go.
Look, Spoon, we'll sit down and talk sometime.
Okay.
Because once I've talked to you, I'm going to start writing all the storylines and getting the maps. Let's kill Pondo episode 1. That's my plan.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that thing where you kill someone in their sleep and you're just like, yeah, you just die. You know, the conspiracy gets you immediately. You're just dead. There's no rolls, right? Like someone puts a knife to your neck.
Yeah.
you're allergic to the fabric in the bed sheet, and
That's right.
you
You go to
hide
sleep.
out
Oh,
and
what's
die.
this? Oh, sorry, your passive perception wasn't high enough to spot the assassins. You just died
Yeah.
to sleep.
Yeah.
No roll required. I'm on passive perception.
I'm actually really excited for Pondo playing a bard. It's going to be incredible.
Right.
Episode 1.
Especially with his unique, uncanny ability to make everyone he interacts with hate him.
Yeah, I know. So let me tell you what you missed. All right, the storyline for grabbing the seed from the great tree, right, would involve a series of planar jumps, including the demiplane of song, where you can only speak by singing.
Oh boy.
It's like a Buffy musical episode.
Yeah.
I was going more for the monks of song from Gallivant, which had Weird Al Yankovic.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, Gallivant was such a good show.
Yeah, Gallivant was
Holy
amazing.
shit.
We actually got a second season.
Yeah, we did. It was good too. God, that show was so good.
I have no idea what you boys are talking about.
Oh, listen, if you haven't seen
very
Gallivant,
funny.
you'll probably like it a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's a big assumption there. I've been known to hate everything.
I'm going to be starting
It surprised me too.
new position at work. I'm moving over to the flooring department, so I'm going to be selling a bunch of.
I bet you are floored by your new position.
I was gonna say, what are you doing? Flooring fools left and right. They walk in the store. You're just like, bam, choke slam. Wasn't expecting that, were you, bitch?
So that's it shouldn't really affect any of my gaming times.
I mean, Big Spoon, it must be really
tired.
nice. It must be really nice to have like something solid under your feet, you know,
Yeah,
career
right.
wise.
Yeah, absolutely. You really love a nice stable platform. Let's see what else happened this week. My parents are in town, so it's always nice to see the folks. It's been
Oh,
about
sweet. Say hi to your mum for me, okay?
Will do.
Thanks.
See, you tried to make that into a joke, but I just go, yeah, sure.
No,
whatever.
that was for James. That was for James. He knows what I'm talking about, right, James?
I think Spoon knows too. Right.
Rove McManus?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's a. Rove didn't originate that.
Yeah. But it's been about a year since I've seen them in person since the last time. So we're all vaccinated and everything, but
You can unseal the bubbles and hug each other now.
yeah. I think that's about it.
Well, James, we got here in less than 10 minutes. Let's do your intro, and then you just start us off when
All right, no worries.
you're ready.
I've had a week. As Arthur knows, Monday night my computer just up and died. I was about to start running Pendragon, and then Windows just froze, and I got back into it once, but I was getting all sorts of watchdog errors, and then after that, next night restarted, I couldn't even get it to the BIOS screen, even after I stripped it back to just like a CPU, motherboard, one stick of RAM. No BIOS, no post. So I had to go out on Tuesday and buy a new PC to build, and because of current issues with semiconductors and shipping, nobody's got Intel at the moment, or if they have got it, it's stupidly expensive. So I've switched over to
Threadripper is what you want anyway. Yeah.
I switched over to a Ryzen processor, and of course, like all the brands like Asus or Gigabyte, no stock of that. So I've got an ASRock motherboard with a Radeon, I think was the brand of my GPU. So I got a 3060 Ti in the end. That was a hassle.
How did you get a 3060 Ti in Australia? That's crazy.
I went to the shop and I said, what have you got in stock? They said we got 3060s, 3070s, and 3080s. And I checked the pricing, and I didn't.
That's crazy. That's crazy that the Americans are memeing it so much that they can't find them anywhere, and then all of a sudden you just walk into a mum and pop store and they've got like 9 of them.
Well, a 3080 Ti at the shop was 2,800 Australian, so about 2,200 US.
That's what I would pay for a computer.
Yeah,
like a good computer. That's what I would pay. You get a fucking.
So that's why they had them in stock.
Jesus Christ!
So I paid 1,200 Australian, or about 900 US for a 3060 Ti.
Okay, that's about fine. That's about on point for the normal prices, but
yeah. But it does what I need. Like, all I'm playing right now is Old Republic and Pathfinder. So
I love that you bought top of the line graphics card and thread and CPU, and just to like, all right, I guess I'll play some Solitaire, see what's up with that. Fucking Jesus.
I keep my options open. So
I mean, how did you go with the power supply? Because that thing sucks fucking juice like crazy.
I've got a 800 watt power supply already in my case from previous.
Okay, so you just had to replace just a few missing parts then.
Yeah, well, the only reason I actually replaced the GPU is because when I opened up my computer, so I had an old 2080 Ti in there. And last time
old 2080 Ti. You mean from like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So when I took it to a computer shop maybe about 6 months ago, for when the motherboard was first having issues, they broke one of the fan blades off one of the fans, and I took it back to Asus. So Asus replaced the whole fan, but when I opened it up to look at this time, the actual fan, like the plastic spindle and blades, was sitting in the bottom of the case and had fallen off the board. So the motor, like the electromagnet motor, was still on the GPU, but the actual plastic fan had fallen off. And now it's got 3 fans. So, and it was still running at like 34 Celsius. So I wasn't worried about overheating, but I decided I may as well replace the GPU anyway, since the fan fell off. I don't know what damage that might have caused. So new motherboard, new CPU, new GPU, and unfortunately they didn't have. I wanted 32 gig of RAM, but they didn't have. So I wanted 232 sticks. They didn't have any stock, so I'm still using my old DDR4, which is pretty slow for the current motherboard. So when more RAM's in stock, I'll buy some more DDR4 RAM. But then the other big news this week was we had an earthquake in Australia, which isn't that exciting to people who live in America, but it's the second earthquake in my living memory in Australia. And what's great about this one is that nobody was hurt, nobody was killed, which means it's become memeable. Like, the moment it's an actual tragedy, you can't make fun of it. But this one, because there was no serious injuries, it's just so many great jokes. I mean, look, they're very Australian jokes, so they don't bear repeating here. But for me, though, because with my business, I have 2 branches in Melbourne, and one of them the building is being declared structurally unsound. So until we get an engineer in to actually properly assess it, I've had to close that branch down. But it's not a big deal anyway. So but that was a bit of interest this week. I was literally on a phone call with people in Melbourne at the time it happened, and they're going, "Oh, did you feel that, or was that an earthquake?" Yeah, so I mean, like I've never been myself in an actual earthquake. I've been in cities directly after earthquakes. I was in San Francisco right after the really big earthquake in the 90s. So I didn't feel it here. I did feel the Newcastle earthquake about 15 years ago in Australia, but like literally just I heard the windows rattle. That was it. So but going to school briefly in LA, I certainly got to go through the whole earthquake drill at the school as well. So
the only earthquake I've ever been through, I mean, was when like nothing in Australia. Moved over to San Francisco, got like a solid 3 earthquakes a year when I was living there. And there was one really big one, which was just like, you know, shit falling off desks and sort of stuff. And I was like, man, that's crazy to think about. Like just one day you're just, you know, walking around, the next day you're gobbled up by the earth because it splits open. You know, like, oh man, crazy to think about
there was one MCDM stream that I was, this was, I think, a couple of years ago, where he was live on the air and like stuff, like you could see like in the background of a shot, like he had a lamp and it was like wavering back and forth. And he's like, well, I'll be right back. And then left to go, you know, stand in a doorway or whatever. And we all got to sit there and watch as all of his shit on his shelves shook back and forth as there was an earthquake. But
I mean, what was great is Melbourne's still in lockdown. So I mean, like cities, you can't leave the house except for essential shopping. You know, businesses are closed unless they're essential businesses. But of course, when the earthquake hit, everybody was like advised to go stand outside. but everyone's standing outside. Like, do we socially distance? Like, what do? We can't go back in the building. So it's people got pretty confused. But mainly it was standing right like against the wall of the building. Like, oh, you know, we'll be safest if we stand right up against the building and have a smoke, you know.
Right where all the fallen debris will fall on us and crush us.
You got to understand, they wouldn't know that. They'd just be like, oh, we're outside. We're not jumping into any pit holes. We're good, right?
Yeah, it's like a fire, right? Just move away from it and you're fine.
Move away from the earth.
Yeah, jump. Exactly. Where's the safest place to be during an earthquake? In an airplane.
Hey, until you can't land.
An airplane in the air, hopefully.
Yeah. Haven't you seen Under Siege 2? You know, earthquake in the sky.
No, I have not seen Under Siege 2. No.
That sounds awesome. How do I not know about this movie? Is that real?
Isn't that just a shockwave?
So the plot of the second Under Siege movie is that terrorists have gotten their hands on a secret US weapon that creates earthquakes, and someone like challenges them to shoot down a plane, so they try and target the earthquake making machine at a plane in flight and blow it up in flight.
Oh my god!
Was it Air Force One?
Yeah, and there's a scene where the bad guy goes, "Earthquake in the sky."
That is a very American weapon, though.
Was snorting crack at that time for that.
Yeah, right.
American President John McClane jumps out of the airplane to fight the terrorists as his airplane explodes behind him. I'd watch that movie.
Have you guys seen like the meme going currently, which is the extended edition of the Portal scene from Avengers Endgame, where it like they bring in portals with like all the other Marvel characters, like the Fantastic Four, and they start bringing all the DC characters in, and they start bringing in like all the westerns, like, you know, Clint Eastwood and the Dirty Dozen. Yeah. It's like a 4-minute version of the Portal scene that's every memeable character.
Just keep coming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it tilts over to like the Doom Eternal Portal scene where all this people are coming in and stuff. Oh, yeah. I actually I had a question, but now I've forgotten it. God damn it. All right. Oh, has the protests like slowed you down at all, James, over there? Or because I had a conversation with some of my Australian friends today, actually, and they were saying that some of the protests got a little wild over there. I haven't seen anything about it.
It's weird. So what happened, for anyone who doesn't know, is that so Victoria has always had the harshest lockdown rules. In fact, on October 4th, Melbourne will be the city in the world that's had the most amount of lockdown since COVID began.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah,
yeah, and they keep that's the thing. They keep changing rules, and so right now, because things like construction can still go ahead, they found that construction is the number one place where cases are spreading. So people, because people that work in construction go from site to site, they go pick up materials, whatever, and that's like something like 50% of cases are happening because of construction or related families. So they created a rule to say that construction sites couldn't have a breakout room. Like you couldn't have a room to go and sit and have your lunch. You had to leave site to go and have your lunch. And so there was a small protest at first where all the construction was like, well, if we can't have our lunch inside, we're going to take all our trestle tables and all our coffee machines, and we're going to go put them in the middle of the road outside the construction site and block traffic and sit there and have our lunch just to protest this rule that the government's brought in. So they had instances of police coming and moving along tradies who were like blocking the middle of the road with their trestle tables and their plastic coffee cups. And then that led to the Union for Construction, the CFMEU, telling its members to comply with the directions, which then led to a big backlash of all the union members against the union bosses. And they staged a huge protest outside the union headquarters. And then what's happened is all of the radical anti-mask, anti-vax people have said, hey, there's a protest going on over here. All we need to do is go buy some reflective shirts and we can go and stand there and bulk out the numbers and make this look an even bigger thing. And so suddenly, what was originally like an 80-person sort of thing turned into like an 800-person thing, and like all the stores that sell high-vis clothing sold out, in a day because of all the, the people that wanted to protest that. And so that led them to violent protests. And the result was then the government said, okay, well, if you guys are going to protest, we're going to shut down all construction for 2 weeks. No construction can take place. And of course, my business is fed by most things that we sell get sold into new construction. So it's pretty much ground my Victoria sales to a halt, but only for 2 weeks. And it's like nothing is lost. Everything is just shifted down the road. So it's annoying, and it sucks for the team there who won't get their commission because they won't get the sales in the appropriate period. But it's not. But it's far from the end of the world with everything else which is going on around COVID at the moment. So everyone's pretty stoic these days about that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I apologize to any radical anti-vax, anti-mask people in the audience I may have offended.
I don't think there are any of that.
they're all in the hospital with COVID.
I would be shocked if any human scum were still watching the show.
Oh, Arthur.
Look, man, I don't know. So easy.
Yeah. I mean, I think
it boggles my mind about the stat about Melbourne being on lockdown for the longest period of time. Like that's kind of,
yeah, but for the longest time, Australia really fucking kept it together. Until recently, it wasn't really that bad there.
Yeah, it's almost like being an island with no land borders makes it easy to control people coming in out of the country.
Yeah, I mean, they did all right despite the government.
Technically, you're not an island since you're a continent, but
it's also a country.
Just because you put it in, every continent is an island. Then, just because you put it in your theme song doesn't mean it's true. Okay.
If it touches water, it's an island.
What the fuck?
Hey, the word island never appears in the Australian national anthem. The word land does.
Look, island is just two words mixed together. Is land, okay? Like, prove me wrong, right?
This is the argument that I have with native Michiganders when they try and call Lake Michigan a lake. It's an inland sea, people. It's fucking massive.
Yeah, but can you drink it?
Yeah, but it's a great lake.
Yes, you can.
Boom.
It's a lake that's pretty great.
Jesus Christ.
They even added it to the list of lakes that are pretty great. They call it the Great Lakes. Am I wrong about this?
All right, Arthur. Okay.
But that's all. That's been my week. Fixing computers, playing games. I feel like I've gotten to the same point in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous now I did in Kingmaker, where the crusade mechanic is starting to detract from the enjoyment of the game for me, because the regular content is being gated by having to get to a certain point in the Crusade.
And I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I don't want to just turn Crusade mode off. And the biggest problem with it is time. It's like, I don't have a problem winning in the fights, but I just have to wait like a week at a time for my recruitment to build up so I can actually get some forces in to go and fight, and if you just come too slowly. I'm like, I'm not in any danger of losing. I'm just have to sit there going skip day, skip day, skip day, skip day, getting more resources.
Don't play the biggest problem.
The biggest problem about the
go, Dave. Sorry.
Okay. The biggest problem about turning off the Crusader stuff is that you're actually losing some side missions. I think it is.
No, they said in Wrath of the Righteous, you don't lose any crucial content, but you do lose access to some gear, for example, and you lose and certain things happen later in the game because certain companion stuff is triggered by Crusade activity, and all those companion conversations will still happen. They're just delayed if you turn off the Crusade.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I kind of got to the point where, like, I think it's like Act 5 or whatever. You can really tell that that's where the early access stopped, because the content kind of like shifts in quality a little bit after that, and it's like, okay. Yeah. What did you end up going with in terms of like your mythic power? I think they call it.
I'm still on the angel path, so I haven't reached the point yet where you get to make the final choice.
Okay.
What I said,
sorry,
James,
I think you
was,
saying something? Yeah.
Don't play the new ActRaiser.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of ActRaiser?
No.
All right. The SNES game. So, you're literally God, and you have to free the souls of people in a tormented land from the demon lord Tanzra. The game has 2 phases. You start by going to a new land as you like transmigrate your soul into a statue, and you beat the shit out of people in like a side scroll adventure.
Oh wait, is that the one where it has the RTS element and then that powers up your like dude? Okay, correct. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So you beat a boss, it'll unlock the land. Then you like shepherd the people. You direct them on how to grow. You use your godly powers to help clear the land for them, and you stop horrifying invasions. And then eventually they'll give you unlocks, like they'll unlock you new magic when they hit certain developments. And then you have to kill the final boss of the area, which puts you back in side scroller again. The re-release of it, ActRaiser Renaissance, just came out yesterday. And they literally just they added a whole bunch of stuff. And the new soundtrack is fucking banging. But they have just long periods of like, wait 20 minutes for your population to hit 500. And I'm just like, wow, okay. This is the only piece I will know, is just putting the Switch down, getting up and walking away, waiting for... Because you grow at like a set interval. It's like every 15 to 20 seconds, hourglass will turn over, and then a new wave of people will get out and leave your temple to go... Anyway, it will waste time like that. But when it's not wasting your time, it's fun as shit. But it does definitely have a time waste mechanic that is annoying as fuck.
Can't you just do the thing where you like, is it like bound to the system clock, or is it like something else?
I don't know anything about that.
Gotta pad those gameplay hours.
Oh, there's no way this game has more than like 12 hours in it.
Yeah, but if they didn't make you wait that 5 to 10
look,
seconds,
the original ActRaiser
like
was only about 8 hours long. Yeah. So they added like hero units and such, and like a waifu storyline, and I was just like, "Yep, this is Japan." I'm pretty sure they changed. It used to be the super crop, so like you have farms and they level up with your civilization through level 1, 2, and 3, and then you get a super crop. I think it used to be wheat. But now it's rice, and there's a whole like we're from northern Japan. We're not called the native Ainu people. we're called the I2 people. And I'm like, yep, you're I2 people. You literally dress exactly like them. And they're like, look at how Japanese we are. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You're Japanese, bro. You literally are farming rice right now. Just come on, man. Just move the storyline along.
So let me make one observation more about the Pathfinder computer games. This applies to both Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous.
Okay.
I really like CRPGs because they to an extent duplicate, what we're doing now, the RPG experience. But one of my big complaints with those games when it comes to the sort of the empire management mechanic is that it will often give you effectively binary choices with no further info. So it'll say like, a man appears at the gate wanting to see you. You can either A, see him in, or B, send him on his way. And and it could be a case if you say A, he gives you units for your army. And if you say B, he rubbishes your name in the world and you lose reputation. Or it could be a case if you say A, he attempts to assassinate you and all your forces lose morale. Or B, if you send him on his way, you find out later on he assassinated your enemies. But there's no way to know that. There's no way to ask more questions than just, I've got this binary choice with no further info. And the only way to determine the outcome is to try one, and see what happens, and then go post about it on Reddit so people know what the right choice is to make in the future. Like that happened in an RPG. And I said, as a GM, hey, if someone wants to see you, the first thing players would do would be try and determine more about the choice before they make the choice. And the game has a tendency to present you with choices with no further info and expect you to guess which outcome might be preferable.
And so,
I mean, in the conversation stuff, they generally allow you to like, hey, you passed an insight check. Here's more information. Or like, hey, you passed your nature law check. Here's like, so I don't think it's like, I agree.
They do it a bit. Like it's not.
Yeah, but it's not consistent.
Egregious,
yeah.
But
Yes, it's super not consistent. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
More to say? Have you, Arthur? You
Sorry. We less than 10 minutes for everyone else's intro, and James got us up to like 22 minutes just by himself.
Yep.
I literally was just watching Empire Strikes Back right before we got started, actually. You want to meme Star Wars at me, sir?
And now you're holding.
There's no way that can be true.
I'm not holding us up. You're the game master. You tell me when you're ready to get started. I mark down the time and then we go.
All right, mark it.
I've already marked it.
All right. The episode title, by the way, is Shattered because Arthur couldn't tell you it's episode 6 Shattered previously. Previously on Rogue Trader Strings of Fate, work is carried out to make the Exchequer ready for tow. Despite their best efforts, the crew of the fleet are unable to salvage the other hulks, and so a plan to scuttle them is formed. As the ships of the Cowles fleet make ready to leave the 13th station of passage, an ominous message implies a deal has been struck, and Nero experiences a terrible vision of possible future. Arriving in Port Wanda, the group soon learns that a warp storm has engulfed the world of Sephiroth Secundus, throwing the Click sector into chaos as one of its main shipping routes is cut off. Word is sent to Trade Admiral Jonquin Saul that Pierre Cowles has the Exchequer and he is willing to trade. And finally, Sister Dawn informs the group that she believes that she can lead the hand through the warp storm to Sephiroth Secundus. Thought for the day, in the darkest of moments, the Emperor's light shines brightest.
I love these little reminders you give me, James, because like every single time we start the game, I have a blank slate about what I did. And then the moment you do that, I'm just like, oh yeah, we did do that.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Someone literally just hit me up on Discord to tell me that the description of this show doesn't include Adrian, and I thought that can't be true, but actually it is true. He's gone a season and a half without ever being mentioned in the description section.
Like, oh, hey, who's this fourth guy? What's he doing?
Yeah. So your internship ended, but your probation didn't until now, Spoon. So.
I see. They didn't file the paperwork with the proper administratum.
Fucking Discord. What do you people know anyway?
Thanks,
the
Discord.
truth, apparently.
I appreciate you.
So I understand that the fleet was waiting at Port Wanda, and a couple of weeks later, we see the necessary expenditure, another Exchequer class ship, emerge from the warp at Port Wanda, as Trade Admiral Saul has arrived for his negotiations. So straight away, Voxtails are sent to the Hand to coordinate, and so Saul has invited you aboard the necessary expenditure, although is also willing to meet aboard one of your ships if you prefer.
No, I'll meet aboard his, that way he can pay for the food.
Okay.
That's so fucking petty.
And I think that you guys don't see it, but there's a brief moment we see on board the bridge of the necessary expenditure where Saul is looking out and he sees like the exchequer in tow of your ship, and there's that sort of that scene with the guy at the movie cinema who's like tearing up as he's like. It's like that. His hands up to his mouth as he's like,
nice Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen.
Overcome with emotion at seeing what he's been obsessed with for years.
And then he learns that it's cursed.
So Pierre, I assume that you're taking everybody aboard the necessary expenditure.
Yeah, the main four, yes.
Okay.
And Cade, because Cade.
Nero doesn't have his missile launcher on his shoulder back mount, and Cade is literally just carrying it on his back instead.
Okay, but have you got the man portable?
Has that arrived yet?
That would have been in the
okay.
Since
then the only way I can think to do it is that it has to be mounted so that it's like the antennas on battle droids from Star Wars, right? Like half of the gun lifts up over his shoulder, and the other half is like down to his waist, so that the gun can come up like this. Otherwise, it's not going to fit on his shoulder. It's just not possible.
I was gonna go the Predator like plasma cannon route, but same thing basically.
Yeah, but this thing is fucking massive. It's a portable lance cannon.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, if James tells me I can physically like mount it on my shoulder real small, I'll take that. But that doesn't look like that to me.
No, it was gonna be the same thing. It's just gonna be absolutely huge on your shoulder.
He didn't mention that your balance is going to be completely off because of it, but
that's okay.
Well, he's in power mode. It's the jets in his jetpack are just constantly firing at like a low rate to counterbalance.
Just firing the right jet just constantly firing while the other one is occasionally
it's at like 30% throttle.
I mean, I can't use it when I'm in power armor, right? Because the mount is on my body, not on the suit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I only have it when I'm in my regular armor. Unless you tell me that there's like a nice slot on my power armor, just like how in the Star Wars Visions, the girl has the side ponytail hole on her fucking Rebellion pilot space captain helmet. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go watch the only one with the girl with the side ponytail, and you'll see it immediately now that I mentioned it.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I still need to.
Wow! Listen. There's some really good ones, and there are some big fat stinkers.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine it's going to be similar to
Animatrix,
and like the one that they did for Halo.
I didn't see that. I don't give a shit about Halo, unfortunately.
Yeah, Animatrix was hit and miss. I agree with that.
I have no idea what's happening.
Okay.
I have some idea what's happening. Nero has in his pocket his Rookie of the Year Jonquin Saul card. Never did get it signed. Now that he's brought the fucking exchequer back, I want a goddamn signature on there.
So Adrian pilots the Lucky 13 aboard the necessary expenditure. Like, everything about this ship is fit. Like, you've been aboard ships made for war. This ship is made for trade. So, the bay is all racking, ready to hold stuff ready for easy shipment. There's like shipping, like logistics clerks going around, like labeling up stuff that has to be offloaded here at Port Wonder. Like, he's made sure that by coming to Port Wonder, he's also picked up trade goods to sell at Port Wonder at the same time. So, it's a very sort of efficient process of people going back and forth doing their job wordlessly or with a minimum amount of fuss. Saul himself is waiting there to greet you at the at the landing bay. He's definitely much older than Pierre. It's always hard to tell someone's age in the 41st millennium because of things like rejuvenate treatment. He actually looks relatively old. So he has long grey hair that looks like it would probably have like a natural curl in it if it wasn't sort of tended to normally. He wears like a brown greatcoat with like a frilled cravat at his neck. Has like some sort of dueling blade at his hip, but it looks like it's more ornamental than anything else. He doesn't look like the typical sort of member of the Imperium who's ready to draw and throw down at a moment's notice. Although he does have some scarring on the right side of his face. It looks maybe like burn scarring or like maybe abrasion scarring. Other than that, he is well dressed, well presented. He's there, like with a number of his sort of senior crew there to greet you. Lord Captain, welcome aboard the Necessary Expenditure. It's a pleasure to properly make your acquaintance.
We've met before. We mean properly. We've met before.
Did you actually meet in person, or you communicate with him?
When you first asked us to look for the Ashaka class, yes.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so it's a pleasure to see you again. My apologies, sorry.
It's okay. It's been like a season and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you again. I hope your view coming in was very promising.
Well, because trade in the Calixis sector is quite strained right now. Almost 50% of all trade in the sector goes through the Sephira Secunda sector system, and with this warp storm in place and no sign of how long before it abates, this has caused some drama. My entire fleet is attempting to compensate as best we can. But please, we shouldn't speak here. Please, let me walk you to a chamber where we can speak properly.
Yes. Now, obviously, as a group on our way there, we would have a conversation about if any of us knew anything about the Heart of Majesty that he was offering for the witch.
Oh yeah, so you want to do that roll first? That's a good point. Yeah. So yes. This roll's happening before you go to meet him. And I will say, by the way, that if he met any of you previously, he does greet you by name as well.
Right here.
Yeah. Like I said, it was like season 1.5.
So it might have included Dawn as well then.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Dawn was there, Adrian was not.
Is this the guy that we were like on the first area where I came? There was like a dude that you talked to. It was an Inquisitor, and then there was like another person that you talked to who was like the owner of the place or something.
No, that's Tempus Moros.
I believe he was the one that brought you to where we were at the time.
Was he also on the ship? There was another dude. I know there was someone else on that ship.
I think you're talking about. I believe you're talking about the previous colony head before that planet went to sunder.
Mm.
So the only people he's met are people that are on the description section in YouTube, just to be very clear.
Yeah, pretty much. Minus Adrian.
All right. Common Law War, you say, for what's it called? The Heart of Majesty?
Yeah, Common Law War at minus 30.
Oh, well, that's minus
and
5.
What is it for Legends?
For me. How about?
Legendary minus 10.
I'm not going to bother re-rolling that.
Is there anything that I can roll? Maybe? If I get into the game.
You're on 8.
Oh, I'll re-roll that. Why not? All right, not much. Well, actually, a lot better, but not still what I needed.
Okay. Get my info out here. In the meantime, I'll also throw you an image of Jonathan Saul. Okay, so Adrian, you have heard of the the Heart of Majesty from some old texts. Apparently, it was one of the ships in the 29th Expeditionary Fleet during the Great Crusade. So it was a ship that was assigned to the Emperor's Children Legion, but not as a Legionnaire vessel. It was like one of the naval vessels that escorted the fleet. How many degrees is that? It's less than 1 degree Celsius for you, isn't it? Even
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe, or I'll probably spend a fate point to bump it up by 1 though.
Okay.
To a 1.2.
Okay. So 1.2. 1.2. You know that the ship was presumed lost at the Battle of Isfahan 5.
Okay. And do it. I know what I know about, or at least have heard rumors about what happened at Isfahan 5, right?
Yeah, well, you know that the Isfahan 5 is notorious for it's where the heresy originally started.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I would fill the Lord Commodore in about the history of the ship and what I know about it.
So yeah, it's an Avenger class. So although he referred to as a battle cruiser, the term battle cruiser didn't exist as an appellation during the Horus Heresy. It's actually an Avenger class Grand Cruiser.
Sounds big. Yeah.
Yes. So think about how, like in modern navies, we don't use battleships anymore. Everything is now destroyers, because battleships. Yeah. So this thing was like what would have been a battleship back in the day. It's all size and firepower, but it's been, it was slow. It was made to do horrific damage, but can be outgunned by smaller, faster vessels, so to speak. You don't know, but we just well, not outgunned by, but just sort of outmaneuvered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big ship meant to take the hits.
According to the Lexicanum, this ship was built for a single purpose, which is to take the fight to the enemy at short range and deliver as much firepower as possible to them. So it's a bruiser.
Hulk. Smash.
It looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's the older style before they went to like the more typical eagle-headed prows, because it was before ships were allowed to use the eagle as a symbol of the emperor. So yeah, it's a ship that's been lost for over 8,000 years.
Okay. So there's a chance that it is cursed, but only halfway?
It's possible that it was involved in some sort of heresy, but who knows, sir?
Very well. I guess we'll have to inquire about it when we have our meeting here in a few shortly.
Okay. There's a very odd atmosphere.
Swipe back to the conversation.
There's a very odd atmosphere aboard the Necessary Expenditure. Like it's one of those ones where there seems to be shadows where shadows shouldn't always be. So it's like someone's put like a neutral density filter over the lens of the camera while filming, just to sort of dim down the whole environment. The crew themselves go about their task efficiently and silently, but you still occasionally see them making like signs of protection or of personal warding as such. Like you get a vague sense that this ship is even to its own crew ill-omened. And so the people here sort of live under this sort of constant fear of the unknown, even within their own home.
That's odd. Everybody was like happy-go-lucky last time.
Yeah, this feels awful.
Nero's shaded, so he just literally doesn't give a shit. Plus, they're going with Cade, so
yeah,
everyone's gonna feel awful anyway.
So he takes you to a observation dome, which has like table and chairs and food and everything set out. I mean, he's going to wine and dine you before he even starts talking about business. So it's up to you how much of that you want to play through. But certainly, he's going to just do small talk. Tell me about your adventures in the Expanse.
Oh, James.
Tell me about his business acquisitions. Yeah.
Come on, we obviously brought a gift basket with like partridge jerky and some of the Lord Commodore's own wine. We
Yes.
bought 5,000 bottles of our own Renka. We've only given away less than 100. That supply ain't going anywhere. All right.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Why stop at 1? We give them 3.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. So,
Oh no! I asked him to sign my Jonquil Saul Rookie of the Year Rogue Trader card at this point.
all right. Yeah, he's a bit confused that such a thing exists. I've never heard of this this series, but I have no issue with giving you my mark.
I've seen a lot of merchandise in my life.
It was a limited printing, I believe. Only in the Cadia system.
So, shall we talk business? There is a giant Hulk floating outside.
Yes, we shall. Please, everyone, sit. First off, Lord Commodore, allow me to ask you: have you come to negotiate today with a particular price in mind, or are we looking at a more open discussion of different possibilities? If you have a price in mind, I'd like to potentially start with that. Otherwise, if you just come with the intent of discussing what could be, then I would have some offers an offer for you to consider.
Well, I do have one particular idea.
Yes.
I was wanting to inquire you about the ship that you were offering for the witches back in Footfall. The Heart of Majesty, you called it?
Yes.
How was the state of that ship at the moment?
So the ship itself would be considered a Hulk by most standards. It is not currently operational. I recovered the heart about 8 years ago and brought it to my ship fitting facility. And my original, I looked into whether or not it would be in my interests to restore that ship to functionality. It certainly could be. It's not missing anything. It is damage, is what we're talking about. It needs extensive repair and recrewing. I mean, we're talking about a ship here which is crewed by nearly 150,000 souls. I determined that based upon the configuration of ship, how my business runs, that it would not be of direct benefit to me, even in a repaired state, without extensive modification that would, in many ways, probably annoy the priests of Mars, because the ship would be taken so far from its original intended use as to be an insult to the Omnicia. So for that reason, rather than simply sell the Hulk or attempt to liquidate it in some way, I decided that it was in my interests to hold on to it until the right opportunity came along. Now, I'll be honest with you, Lord Commodore. Prior to our first meeting, I had received some guidance that in going and sending my agents to the auction 2 years ago on Footfall, that would put me on the path to finding the Exchequer. So I want to be clear that you were there. You know the offer that I made at the time of the Heart of Majesty. That was all with a view towards achieving this outcome. What I didn't know at the time, obviously, was that our first meeting came because of your involvement there. So perhaps the soothsayer's words were true, that this is an adequate path. So certainly, I would have no issue with. In fact, what I had intended to propose was actually the Heart of Majesty and a little bit more, because not that I necessarily seek a fast resolution, but I seek a mutually amicable resolution, because I'll make no secret that I need this ship, but at the same time, I cannot ruin my family in order to obtain it. And my family is my trade, is my business. So the Heart of Majesty offers nothing to my family's goals. And therefore, it is a small price to pay for anything which does promote my family's goals. So what I would like to propose, if you would consider it, and please take the time you need as well, is that, well, okay, let me go back a step to let you know what I've done with Heart of Majesty since then. So the Exchequer and its sisters are all unusual designs. They have unusual components. So I had planned to use the Heart of Majesty as its ancient technologies were easily adapted into any modern ship. So I have taken pieces from it as required to fit out the Armness or any of the other sister ships, the necessary expenditure. So, I can give you a list of what I've removed from the Heart of Majesty. They're things that could be acquired elsewhere. I just had them in my possession already with the Heart of Majesty. So I would turn over the ship as it stands to you. In addition to that, because I want to make this something that would work for you, I own a controlling stake in the Kormisoshi dockyards. This is where the ship is currently moored. I would turn over that stake to you, so that not only do you have the ship, but you have the equipment, technology, resources, and manpower required to refit it as you see fit. The only additional request I would make is that in the deed of sale, you grant me access to refit my own ships at the dockyards as required in perpetuity. Obviously, keeping in scheduling with your own uses, but that the dockyards themselves and their incomes and benefits would be entirely transferred to your name. The only free customer you'd have would be my own fleet.
Which is how large exactly?
18 ships.
So does the dockyards sound familiar at all, or is that a well-known thing?
They're not well known. No. So I mean, look, probably you would have heard of them beforehand. They're owned by. They're not a public dockyard. They're owned by a private conglomerate of which he is the controlling shareholder.
Right.
So, which means that only its members can use it as such. So the Navy can't use it. You can't just turn. I mean, look, anyone that turns up and says my ship is wrecked, I need your services to repair. They'll be like, okay, well, let me give you a quotation first, and you can decide whether you can afford my services.
I'll give you a free quote.
Yeah.
Okay.
For rogue traders, why give them a free quote?
Yeah, it's 100 Thorne gel for us to appraise the ship per kilometer.
Per
You give them the
kilometer.
free quote so you can overcharge them later.
So what I'll do is I'm just going to I'll whack the stats for the Heart of Majesty into.
What system is this dockyard in?
It is not in a system. It is just slightly coreward of Tranche. So
Is that in the Koronus Expanse or the
No,
Calixis?
it's a click sector.
All right, well, that's actually pretty good.
So Tranche is right here.
Yeah.
And coreward is which one changes coreward? Rimward. So it's in the Adranus Nebula.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gonna hide a private shipyard in the middle of fucking nowhere. I guess a nebula on the edge of space is a pretty good one.
So you should have all. I've just shared now the Heart of Majesty in Roll20 as well.
All I can see is the bio and info, not the stats.
I was say it doesn't show the character sheet yet.
Okay, I've got to make it so it's. Yeah,
It's definitely majestic.
Try it now.
It's loading.
I'm gonna try reloading it.
Yep, I've got it
Yeah.
now. Okay. Ooh, it is not as maneuverable as our ship. Oh, that's for sure.
So let me explain a little bit about it. So in terms of its essential components, what's important. So the Saturnine class 5 drives are pretty much unproducible now. They're not considered archaeotech because they can still be maintained, but they are extremely efficient power plants intended for battle cruisers. The fleet flag bridge, once again, very hard component to come by, but effectively it means that any ship within 30 void, so this ship and any friendly ship within 30 void units gets +5 to their piloting tests, as required. The BG-15 assault scanner is the August system for it. It's primarily made for planetary bombardment, so it gives you big bonuses to hit targets on the ground. It has a archaeotech. I didn't put it on here. It's got a Castellan pattern archaeotech dual void shield array. So that's not actually, I need to add to the list. I'll put that in now. What that means is that it normally has 2 void shields, but as a strategic action, you can make a tech use test at -10. And if it succeeds, it doubles its void shields for that turn, up to 4 void shields. Then in terms of weapons, it has, so it's only got weapons out the side. It has no front matter weapons. It's designed to broadside. Okay. Yeah. So it has a Hecular pattern macro battery, plasma broadside on each side, which is high damage, very long range, 11 void unit range. But extremely power hungry. It's the most power hungry weapon in the game, but it makes up for it with big damage and big range. And then also out each side is a regular Mars pattern macro cannon broadside, which only has a range of 6. So the idea is that it can hit targets a long way off, but once it gets from the 6 void units, it can actually hit them with 2 sets of macro cannons. 1 strength 5, 1 strength 6, so a maximum of 11 possible hits is significant damage on either side of the ship.
It's just the only catch is that it doesn't have any lance weapons, but of course and
if I'm reading this correctly, it means we can put an additional weapon system in, correct? If we have space for it.
No, because all the space is taken up. It's three each side, and the third thing is it's also got Jovian pattern launch bays. So it's got like fighter and bomber bays on each side of the ship as well. So it's fully taken up by the 2 sets of macro batteries and the Jovian launch bays. It's got flak turrets, which means it can increase its turret rating at a cost of detection by just flacking space around it. It's also got barracks just give you a benefit to military actions and let you hold additional troops. The Munitorum increases the damage of all your weapons, but if the Munitorum becomes damaged, it explodes and does damage to the ship.
Okay, so the damage that's on the macro batteries
that includes the modifier for the Munitorum. Normally they're 1d10 plus 2s.
Oh, okay. So it acts an extra 1. Okay.
Yep. And its complication / class history is Vessel of the Fleet, which means that every crew member aboard it is considered to have the good reputation Imperial Navy talent. But it is 100% a warship. It is not.
There's no.
It's not
there's
made
no
for trade.
Yeah, there's no shipping concerns with this ship.
Yeah, I mean, like any ship, it's got cargo space,
Sure,
but
all of that is for to go wage war somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right, Nero writes something down on like a data pad and then slides it over to Pierre on Discord, which is a application that the Adeptus Mechanicus runs. You don't agree? You look like maybe.
The only thing I'm not sure about is the third line. But okay.
I like the way you said it to him in Discord directly, so even I can't read it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The third one is he mentioned it, as disruptive. I'm not saying we force him, right? But if he wants to, he could, you know.
All right. Okay.
More allies, not bad.
Very well. And when you promise this shipyard, this property, does that include the contracts that you have with the shipyard as well?
Well, they would be included. It would be up to you whether you maintain them.
Okay. That's what I figured.
So yes, the agreement is with the contracts that it currently holds are held with my family, and so they're not automatically assumed to transfer with the transfer agent. But I'd pass you all the details so you continue to operate them if you wish to.
Very well.
But
The
I
other
don't
thing
have,
is if
I don't have an alternative station to reroute them to, so I won't be competing with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know of any leads that could help just find us a way to find just a starting quantity of people that could crew it? Whether you know areas where there's some retired voidsmen, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm sure that there are many who would leap at the chance to crew such a storied and historic vessel.
I mean, a number of like it would only cover, you know, maybe 10 to 20,000, but a number of navalmen have recently entered the open market after the destruction of their ships during the Battle of Port Wanda.
Oh, James, I literally look, Pondo, didn't I fucking predict exactly this?
You did.
It's like that time where I predicted all of Dave's actions to one of my intros. All right, I fucking 4D chess this conversation.
Which bit did you predict exactly?
That he would say something like, "I can't fill all of them, but I know where some are."
Yeah.
Yeah, here after you got them, made them lose their ships.
Well, and you know, most of the crew is going to be like the lower deck stuff is all going to be like press ganged or like, you know, conscripts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we want to get this guy to give us a little extra something. He can't just come and tell us what he wants to give us, right? We ask for more. What he's comfortable with isn't good enough.
The Pierre Cowles dynasty. We ask for more.
Honestly, you gave me more than what I was just fine with getting the ship.
Yeah, but here's the thing: once you get a taste, you can't stop. You know?
Yeah. So he's given us his opening offer.
Yeah.
Now we have to come back and
With our competing, yeah,
yeah, and be like, all right, well, that's great.
Well,
We
I
want
want
all
two
of
battle
that
cruisers.
and then some. Yeah. We want shares in 2 shipyards.
Pretty much, this guy was like, "Okay, so you want $500? I'll give you 1,000 if you give me
all
that."
that's telling us, Pondo, is that you undervalued what this thing was actually worth. Okay, we're merchants. We don't deliver goods. We deliver what people need. And brother, we need this car.
Solutions.
So Pondo, give me a commerce test. This is just without calculus rate. This is just like your natural commercial sense.
Would evaluate make more sense?
No, because this is more about reading him as a seller.
Okay.
Evaluate's more about assessing the goods.
Does he qualify as a? Well, I guess he's either noble or merchant. So.
This is not a social role though. We're not doing a social role. This is more of an like.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Why don't you
So
roll
just
your
roll it
commerce?
straight, nothing.
Just roll your commerce. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, bro, just roll. Come on now.
Fucking skill negotiation.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
We're negotiating on so many levels.
What was the term? 4D chess?
Yeah.
So reading into this guy, what he's basically done is, because it said, like, as I mentioned to you on Discord previously, he can't lose this deal. So he needs to know, for him, it's not about you know, up and down, trying to get to the right point. It's basically he's pretty much going all in straight off to see whether a deal can be reached. If you can't agree on, you know, him offering you what he could offer, then commerce is off the table, and he's got to look at other ways to get this ship. Now, with that
Killing
being
all
said,
of us and taking it. Yeah.
with that being said, he can't anticipate things like so. So, for example, asking for a second battleship. I know you're not going to. He hasn't got a second battleship to give, for example. But asking for things that he could potentially get, like he doesn't have 140,000 crew sitting around, obviously. But if you said, I need you to crew the ship as well, that might be something you could negotiate into. But, he would have to work out how to do that first. It's not like he has 141,000 people sitting around waiting for a job. But I think that if you did say to him, that's what I want, you feel that he would try to find a way to get it. But then that depends on things like the time frame. Like, if you say, I want them all tomorrow, then he's pretty much going to, kidnap people from his home planets, who will be press ganged and won't be necessarily skilled. Whereas if you said, I want, once again, if I want 140,000 experienced naval veterans by tomorrow, we're now talking about things he can't give you, and we're no longer talking about commerce anymore. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay. How about this? If you can help me find 50% of the crew for that ship, no timeline necessary. If you can just help me find just even the contacts to get a hold of said people, I say we have a deal.
That I would agree to that.
All right, Nero stands up and leaves.
Also, quick question: can the shipyard be used to refit teleportariums?
If you had such technology, it has the tools for that. Yes.
Excellent.
El Japando 4B.
I think regardless, we still have to go to Centillus because that's where they put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just tow it behind the ship.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to, there's even sufficient power and space available on the Heart of Majesty to hold a teleportarium.
I don't think you understand, AP, how silly that would look. That's like
it'd be like dragging
where else are we gonna put
a
it?
tube.
It's literally a
car.
physically
So
large part of the ship.
that's like a Reliant Robin towing like a monster truck.
I don't know what a Reliant Robin is.
It's a three-wheeled car from the UK.
Yeah, it's this
okay.
tiny little 3-wheeled car.
The Mr. Bean car.
Yeah, basically.
Just say the Mr. Bean car.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it has a 200cc engine from a lawnmower, pretty much.
Look, as long as it gets there, I don't care.
It doesn't. It falls over. It was poorly balanced.
No,
If you
as
take it quite too
long
far.
as the teleportarium gets to the shipyard.
You just open the door and it rights itself. It's an old Top Gear episode.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we have two choices now. We can put either the internal Praetorian or we could put it in the big ship.
Are you looking for advice, sir?
What?
The big ship is my vote.
Big ship?
So if you can give me at least a week's notice of when you plan to go to Tranche to collect the ship and the dockyards, I will meet you there to facilitate all necessary transfer.
Very well.
There's definitely a smoking and brandy montage while his lawyers draw up the contracts and then your lawyers review the contracts.
I imagine his lawyers are like panicking, like in shock.
And then like there's, we all go play mini golf and then come back and have more brandies and cigars.
Yeah. Okay. Because obviously that's a later issue. Because we have to go clear over to this Secundus, which is how far up?
Seferus Secundus is sorry.
It's right in the middle of the blue and purple lines.
There it is, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep, right there. Okay.
Yeah, so it's on our way there. We literally just tell them we're leaving in a week.
Well, it'd be on our way back.
Yeah, it's on our way back to the Koronus Expanse from Seferus Secundus that we can stop by Tranche to go to the shipyard.
I guess. I mean, we
Tranch is down here.
Yeah, but
and we're
coming
currently
from.
in. I thought we were at Scintilla.
No, you're
we're
at
at Port Wonder.
Oh, we're at Port Wander.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
by the
passing
way,
it.
I found out by mistake. It's not actually down south Port Wonder. It's actually over like here.
Yeah.
It's on the western
really?
side.
Yeah, it says Handle
okay.
Stars over there.
Yeah, because in actuality, people have worked out you can actually connect the two maps together side by side of the Koronus Expanse. The artwork transfers over.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So those clouds you can see on the left hand side of the map are actually the two
Okay.
storms.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. So it's not really on our way. It's further, or roughly similar.
I think either way, we'd have to make we could do a loop essentially.
Yeah.
Go to Sirius Secundus, then go to Scintillus to pick up the teleportarium.
Look, this guy's here right now. We're gonna fucking drag the ship to the shipyard with him, get the ownership done. We're gonna start repairing our giant fuck off battle cruiser before we go. Like, these are all really easy, very sensible actions we can take right now and
That
go
do
with
not
him right now to not
require
waste
our
any time.
presence. They don't require us to be there.
He literally just said he wanted us to be there to sign the contracts.
Yeah, that's what happening.
He's saying
That's
that
what's
you want to give
happening right
week
now.
notice.
Yeah,
Am I wrong, James? Didn't he say he wanted to be at the shipyard to do it?
The contracts are being signed now.
Oh,
He would meet you to facilitate, like introduce you to the right people, that sort of stuff. Like, you're taking ownership of the shipyard and the ship right now, but it will help the people there if he turns up and sort of introduces and tells you these things that you need to know.
I feel like this is real easy to just go with him.
He's saying, "Hey, when you drop by, let me know so I can be ready and to introduce you to these people."
Okay.
Like, okay. I mean, if you want to go, we could do that, but that's another 6 months to a year that you're
6 months to a year.
Look, dude, it's warp travel, bro.
Half of a sector.
It's warp travel, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it took us a year to.
And hey, it's your family that's in the middle of a warp storm.
You
right
mean
now,
my family? I don't believe that.
I'm just saying.
Like,
I'm just saying. Priorities.
It is your daughter that you're fated to have to kill one day, or she kill you. One of the two.
I killed her in the dream. It was easy.
It was easy.
She was a baby. What could she do? Right?
She was 17 years old.
The pocket storm bolters
versus me, who had decades of experience.
Lethally trained. Every inch of my body is a killing instrument that I can use to kill people and instruments.
His name is a killing word.
It's the last word.
I'm pretty close to having.
It becomes the killing word.
I'm pretty close to having a plus 12 to initiative, so I may also be the fastest man in all of humanity as well.
Nero, Julius, Augustus, bullet, no ID.
The first move and the last word.
Oh man!
Why? Because he is the quick counteract.
If he had a knife, he would stab you 3 times before you hit the ground, but he doesn't.
Yeah, but he's gonna get a gun that shoots knives.
My gun shoots explosions. I don't need fucking knives.
But inside those explosions are tiny knives.
Yeah.
You know, that literally is the plot of one of the Fate storylines. A dude explodes because tiny swords take up his whole body.
I entered your bloodstream a millennia ago when I embedded a tiny knife in there and it multiplied.
Mitochondria, they're just knives.
Well, the people with common law war, please give me a common law war +0 roll.
War
Great.
or warp?
War.
Okay, I don't got that.
What is it good for? Go on, you can say it.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing, apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and set the meeting to go to that port.
Okay, so you want to head there first before you go to before you go to Sepphoris Secundus.
Yep. Apparently the family's not a worry at the moment.
No,
so
it's. I didn't realize there's going to be 6 fucking months,
Well,
guys.
so it's variable. It's
If
variable,
it was
right?
6 weeks, and we could get this guy to come with us, that's one thing.
Arthur, here's what you do, right? Have a baby on board the ship, and then go into the warp for 14 years. Train that baby, and then use that baby to fight your other baby.
Yeah. No, warp travel is always variable. So,
as we've discovered.
All right, we're going to Sepphoris Secundus first, obviously. Dawn is literally like, I got a miracle brewing in me. I don't think that miracle is going to wait 6 fucking months.
Guys, I could laser beam us through this place. It's like, no, we're gonna go sell some shit.
Yeah.
Can you hold on? Can you hold on to the miracle real quick?
Yeah, so I would say if you were going directly to Sepphoris Secundus, it's about 30 to 60 days.
Okay.
So going to Trance from here is probably around 20 days.
Yeah,
if everything goes perfectly.
Yeah. And then we have to go from Trance to Sepphoris Secundus.
Yeah, and that's the problem is that there's no navigable warp routes right now. So
Oh, okay. So we're just.
Can you
just drawing
redirect
them
that redirect that miracle of yours, Dawn, in a different direction for us?
Yeah. Just realign it a little bit. Kick some tires.
all right. So before you set off, at some point, Pierre Cowles, Shrain wants to meet with you alone. Well, actually, doesn't care about alone. Meet with you and anyone else senior.
Okay.
You
I'll bring
wanna
all the
have,
senior since he
I'll
doesn't
be
care.
All right.
My entire entourage is happy to meet you, sir.
All right. Lord Commodore, I've obviously been keeping myself aboard the ship so far, but I've heard about this plan to travel into the warp storm to try and save Sepphoris Secundus.
The whole
Should I-
planet system may be a bit
Okay.
bold to assume that we could rescue that.
Should I maybe debark here and wait for your return, just in case?
Are you spooked?
Well, I'm an inquisitor of the Emperor's Holy Inquisition. To be lost in a warp storm for 1,000 years wouldn't be particularly good for my mission. So I just think if I can't add any value to your exact escapade, then perhaps I simply wait here in Port Wonder and you pick me up on the way back into the Koronus Expanse,
All right.
where my skills will be of use.
I'm going to fuck with this guy. I'm going to put my hands on the back of the chair that I'm standing in front of him, and I'm going to say, Sister Dawn has had a vision from the God Emperor of a pathway to Sepphoris Secundus. Don't you have faith, Inquisitor?
Look, I have faith, but I'm not qualified to determine whether or not someone is capable of such miracles. I work on a system of likelihoods, and I'm just saying that there is a possibility, however small, that this mission is doomed to failure. And if I had some strong contribution to make to it, then I would put myself on the line to ensure that contribution was made. But it is not part of my remit or my mission. And so if you ask me to stay, Lord Commodore, I will stay if you feel I add value. But by the same token, I have a holy and sacred duty that I need to ensure is not compromised.
So just as a gameplay question here, James.
Yep.
How many ecclesiarchy members we got on board to back up the little manner of
It doesn't matter. This guy literally
witness.
is your religious superior. He's like, I'm
No,
not
no, what I'm
qualified, but he's literally the only person qualified.
no,
No,
you
he's Order Xenos. It's not his in job description.
Just because he's Order Xenos doesn't mean he's literally in the religious
look.
hierarchy chain.
He's here saying not in my PD, Arthur. Okay,
All right.
so
There's also the matter of
Look, dentists are real doctors, okay? Jesus Christ.
What the
matter
fuck?
of the warp. The I guess we're calling it the shadow within the warp these days that we discovered.
Yes.
That I believe you were interested in.
Yes.
Well, that's in the
Do you think-
Calixis
do you-
sector.
In the Koronus Expanse. That's in the Koronus Expanse.
Oh yeah, sorry. The Koronus Expanse.
Basically, Lord Commodore, what I'm trying to say is that this man has a white whale that he needs to chase down and harpoon.
That's a very
That's a very dated metaphor you're bringing up, right?
I mean, we
I'm proud of
literally have a
gold star
whole.
for you, Adrian.
We have a division on the ship that's literally chasing that whale for him, right? I
Yes,
literally.
but the ship is going into a warp storm, Nero. We will be, at the very least, out of contact.
If you wish to stay behind, then you can. You're just going to be
Very
missing
good.
out on
I'll get my things, and I will see you when you return.
He didn't even let me finish. My goodness.
What's next? A Space Marine captain wants to get off the train too?
The next one is Miriam wants to speak to Pierre alone.
That's new.
Yeah.
Alone or alone with my superiors?
She is contacting Pierre to have a private conversation.
Okay.
I asked Thorne and Adrian to go shopping with me on Pierre Cowles' dime. I have a thing I
Sure.
need to get.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a ridiculous use of my time.
All right, stay behind.
I think as Adrian Nero leaves, Adrian goes, well, at least the Inquisition won't share any glory in this miracle that we're about to pull off. Right, Nero?
Yeah, no agents of the Inquisition here except the fucking captain.
Ah, yes, but he's a rogue trader first.
I turn to look at the camera and give it a wink when he's not going. Agatha all along style.
I think he's like agent very far until like it's convenient.
Yeah. No, let's go buy some new power swords.
All right, if that's what you need, we'll be shopping in different stores, I guess.
All right, so Miriam comes in, Pierre, and she does that sort of like look around just to make sure that it's definitely just the two of you when she comes in.
Nero pops
Okay.
up out of nowhere. I've been training my stealth skills for years.
She probably like looks like at the vents. We know Nero's been hiding in vents recently.
What's wrong, Miriam? You seem paranoid.
I'd like to talk to you about what happens when we reach Sephiroth Secundus.
Okay, I'm listening.
What is it you think that you would do when you arrive on the planet? Let's assume that the God Emperor is taking us there for a reason, and that either the planet or its populace can be saved. What would you intend to do?
I would like to save the planet along with its populace, but if it only the populace is able, then I would do that. Though even then, I don't know how much of the populace I'd be able to save, considering that is what, 10 million on that planet?
12 billion. 12 trillion.
Of course.
12 billion or trillion? 12 billion, I think it is. Yeah, 12 billion.
This planet was much bigger than I remember then.
I was thinking like 20, 30 people,
I could have sworn this was a frigid mining planet, but I guess
It
I
is.
confused it with something else.
It has a lot of surfs. I have a request to make. If it becomes a choice, well, if there is a choice between saving Queen Lacrima III or saving her infant child, I'd like us to save the child. In fact, I would strongly caution against any dangerous action required to save the Queen. I would probably only save the Queen if not doing so would be not in our best interests or a flagrant disregard of responsibility.
Is it due because the queen is dying?
Well, that's the problem, is that she is old, but she is not dying anytime soon. Queen Lacrima is arguably one of the 3 most powerful people in the Calixis sector. She controls the planet that is responsible for the majority of trade in the sector. And although her relationships with the other sector governors are not strained, she recognizes her power and she wields her power as and when it's required for her own benefit. If she was lost, her child is the natural heir of the world, although unable to govern as an infant. There would obviously be requirement of a regent. This would allow the Imperium to gain a degree of control over this crucial world that we haven't had for the Queen's long lifetime. And remembering that the infant is the child of your crewman, it would give you the ability to exert your will over a very significant world in the sector.
Miriam, I'm liking the way you think.
There's one other matter, semi-related, I wanted to mention to you, and I ask that you please keep this between us.
Okay.
The conversations that Nero has been having with the Queen have not been with the Queen at all. The Queen couldn't care less for Nero and his exploits post-departure. While I was there looking after the child, I was responding to Nero's letters. That's why he's been able to contact her since I came aboard.
He sends way too many dick pics. It's crazy.
This is the best.
I thought it was important for him to have a view over what was happening to his child. This is why I chose to come aboard as well, because I knew what you were, from Nero's communications, what you were up to a degree. So he's obviously very coy in what he says, but his ability for discretion is not renowned. I can practically hear I can hear the winks in his writing.
Literally, one person knows that I am an inquisitorial acolyte. I fucking set some other dude up to die for me on a space station, and they made a statue of him that says my name on it. What the fuck?
I was half expecting her to turn around and be like, and I've fallen in love with Nero because he is a master of the pen.
Look, bro, I shipped Miriam times X Nero since the start of the show.
No.
Look, my character isn't the only one who is gonna end up in a relationship.
Look, I don't care whether you're into Miro or Nerium, but neither of them are happening.
All I'm saying is that if we do meet with the Queen, it could lead to some awkward moments.
So you would rather that she die than talk to Nero? What the fuck?
The second-hand embarrassment
psychopath
would kill me.
Miriam, we'll say that when it comes down to it, she was being possessed by a demon, and I had to put her out of her misery.
Jesus, it's a room full of psychopaths, apparently.
And now the Lord Captain is just talking about straight up assassinating her.
An Imperial Governor.
No one has to know.
We would know, since we'd be there.
I'd send you off somewhere else.
Oh no.
Oh, Lord Captain, remember that
she
time
died
you killed
and
my
I'm
wife?
missing some pistol ammo. It's so weird how that happened.
Could you pass me a couple of bolter rounds, Nero? I seem to be missing a few.
Honda's
As
gonna
for
do
the
that
rest of
thing
what
that
you
I
told
did
me,
in
I'm going to laugh about it later, but not right now.
All right. Next up, Riani wants to speak with Nero and Adrian.
All right. Well, she can join us on the shopping trip then.
Yeah, they're trying on dresses. It'll be a perfect time to.
I
ask them
actually
to-
am trying on articles of clothing.
Okay.
Now I'm going to meet my wife, the Queen, who's definitely been writing me letters.
I mean, she does want to talk to you. Like she's going to talk to you about crisis of faith, which means she's not going to do it on a shopping trip.
All right.
So
we can talk at like when we're coming back on the trip.
no worries.
How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Nero and Adrian show up in the golf cart and they're like, hop in, bitch, we're going shopping.
So Nero is looking for chameleon cloaks because even though these motherfuckers talk about his fucking discretion, he's attempting to switch to a more assassination and stealth level of purview.
Yeah, and stummers. Get stummers.
with his man portable last cannon.
So are we getting a shot?
Hey, look, man, there are fucking space marines that can show up on the battle map wherever they want to because they're fucking cameling cloaks. I assume that's just magic, okay, at this point.
Yeah, chameleon line cloaks and stummers are what you want first to make unstealthy people stealthy.
What's the other thing? Snubbers?
Stummers. So they're like a white noise generator that basically create negative noise. So whatever sound you make, they create like the opposite vibration to.
I don't know
silence.
if that's in this book.
I don't know what book they're from.
All right, I'm gonna write it down and I'll look it up in another episode. But that's what I'm looking for now, is cameline cloak.
STUMMERS.
So Nero's looking through two different options. One is like a very Ronin samurai, like it's got like a combination hat with a large cloak that makes him look like he's from some Sengoku Jidai era shit, and the other is just a straight up like mid-90s United States Marine ghillie suit, like what they used in GoldenEye.
Stummers they're in the main book. They're a average item, and they give you a +30 on silent move checks.
Wow, shit. Okay, I'll take it. All on
Is
the
that
Lord.
before or after you remove all of the stuff making the noise when you move?
I move silently. Wow. I've literally been de-weaponing for the whole season.
Yeah,
guys.
You can literally get, and there's an opposite device to it, something called a screamer, which just makes as much noise as possible.
I'm gonna give that to Adrian.
it's like Cyberpunk has the loudener for the gun. If you don't want to silence.
I mean, that was a Simpsons joke. Silencer, loudener.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think Nero will ever be perfectly silent. I mean, his gold chain bangs against the inside of his armor when he walks.
Okay, I've got 2 more things to get through before the break. So,
we have a talk on the gun cutter on the way back.
Yeah. All right. So, I'm glad I've got you two. I wanted to talk to you about this endeavor we're going on to reach Zephyrus Secundus. Like I trust Dawn with my life, but I'm just worried. Are we sure that is her faith in herself strong enough that we're willing to trust the lives of so many?
I'm going to put my hand on her shoulder and say, this arm, this very human right arm that is now currently attached to my body, Dawn put it back on. Some of the people that were there said that the injury wasn't as bad as I initially thought. You've seen my power armor. There are holes through it where my arm would have been. But it doesn't matter, because my daughter is on Zephyrus Secundus. So this is the only shot. I trust Dawn because it's the only choice I have. And if you're having a moment of faith, I don't care. Figure it out.
I mean, I know this. I've read of this before. I've read of this happening, but I spent a lot of time reading. I love histories. I read the philosophies of the great philosopher Shakespeare. I've read the stories of the ancient American tribes.
There was even a whale movie that I watched one time.
Yeah,
it had a guy named Chris Hemsworth in it.
History and literature is replete with stories of miracles. I never expected to see one in my life.
Well,
and I hope that this is right.
I have faith in Sister Dawn. For Nero, this may be a zero-sum mission in that he feels that he has to go regardless of chances of success. For the rest of us, however, or at least for me, it isn't.
Well, that's good because I'll need your help.
Okay.
When it comes to actually guiding the ship through the warp, as I won't be following the Astronomicon, I will have to relay helm controls to you, and it won't be simply a case of getting on the right course. It will be navigation changes every few minutes for the best part of 2 months. You and your helm crew will be taxed.
I understand. I think
she puts like a hand in the middle, like in that we're all this together type,
Nero's like simmeringly pissed because he was like, figure it out, the conversation's over, was like his thing, and people are still talking, but he'll put his hand in and say, I would like
the last word. Here it comes.
I would like House Santai to handle my will in case I perish. Can you arrange that?
Okay.
I assume that if I perish, the ship isn't coming back. So House Santai is literally the only people I know in this sector of space.
How have you not written a fucking will by this point?
I have, but I'm giving it to House Santai to execute.
He's naming them executor. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. I've never considered dying until now.
I haven't considered dying.
All right. The last scene is Miriam wants to talk with Thorne privately.
Oh yeah,
Miriam's
I'm doing
just
that one-arm push-up bullshit in my room,
Oh, you're getting bulging biceps too, huh?
Yeah.
No, I'm just keeping my current level of
bulging bicep. It's a one-arm push-up.
Yeah.
It's like those.
If you do the push-ups with only one
like
arm,
giant arm, one small arm.
Yeah, you got some fucking problems.
I'm reading the Bible with one arm and I'm doing the pull-up with the other.
Sister Dawn, I wanted to talk with you. First off, I need to apologize that your captain is an idiot.
I look around and just like,
it's just the two of you.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure why you're apologizing to me about his idiocy.
What you are proposing is amazing and a miracle, but I believe that I have all faith that the God Emperor will guide us through this. And I see that you have faith in yourself too. The fact that he tried to undermine this by, well, he didn't try to, but he may have undermined this by bringing the strength of your faith into question by making these or airing these claims about your order. I question his logic there, but I want to know that you put that behind you, that whatever truth or falsity that turns out to be, that I believe in you, not in your order, in you. And I hope that you believe in yourself too.
Well, I didn't have any concerns until, I mean, should I be concerned? Because the last conversation we had about this, it was simply a mistake, right?
That's what I choose to believe until proven otherwise. But it was still a coin of doubt thrown on the pile, and I need us to know that whatever the outcome of that is, that that's completely separate to you and your ability and your connection with the God Emperor.
Let me ask you this.
And even if there was any truth to it as well, it even calls out here that the supposed heretics have been unable to corrupt you, and that your faith has given power to what they claim to be was a dark ritual.
So let me ask you this, because let's say hypothetically that the shadow cast over the Order of the Cleansing Flame is in fact a dark one and is in fact true. How would that render all of my sermons, and how would that render all of the cleansing rituals I have done upon this ship in the name of the Cleansing Order?
Well, first off, you didn't do them in the name of the Cleansing Order, you did it in the name of the God Emperor. And I think that you carried his light with you when you did that, regardless of anything else.
Right.
We'll get to the bottom of the truth of this when the time comes, but in the way I see it, it has no bearing on you, and I just want you to know that too.
Well, I thank you for your insight here, but I had no questions for my own faith until you came here to reaffirm the fact that you didn't. So I think you might have done more harm than good, I think.
She doesn't really have a way to respond to that. She sort of like looks at the ground silently, and then I should go. You've got more to prepare for.
I just sort of like breathe heavily and sort of look at the wall, and I'm just like, I feel you've kind of stolen an epiphany from me.
All right, well, she leaves without saying anything else then.
Okay. I go back to doing one-arm push-ups, but then I stop and maybe I just sort of sit and just sort of like try and think about all this stuff, because up until this point, like Dawn hadn't even considered that it was, you know, a reality. There's no possible way that her order could be, you know, corrupt or not as it seems. So if that is the case, like, there's no way that she could continue, I guess, with the way that she practices preaching, I guess would be the right word. Like this sort of, it's not so much like whether or not she believes that she is right, but whether or not she wishes to continue that style of practicing.
Nice. Miriam was worried you're having a crisis of faith, so instead she gave you a crisis of faith.
Yes. This audience member is like, ooh, Miriam, she's the best partner. And I'm sitting here going, fuck this bitch. She's ruining us.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it. Like, oh, yeah, your order, heretical. But you're fine. And I was like,
I don't know. She's a corrupting influence right now. I'm starting to believe in the traitor Miriam theory.
I just find it's like, okay, well, Don ignores the Lord Captain, but as soon as Miriam says it, it's like,
I mean, she's a part of the order, you know, like she's part of the ecclesiarchy. So it's one thing for the Lord Captain to be like, data slate, and then Dawn to just be like, get that shit out of here. But when another respected member of the order comes to her with a concern like this, it's hard to sort of ignore, you know. Also, you know that meme of like death going from one door and then like knocking on the other ones and there's like blood trail behind it? Yeah, she's like that. That's her in this instance. So.
She's Netflix?
All right, well.
Damn.
It's a good time for a break, I think.
Fine. When we come back, I want to talk to Pierre about the SWOT.
No, I want to talk to... No, that's not true.
You can come with me. We're doing strategic planning.
Yep.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, threat.
Yep.
Yeah. James is what I'm talking about. All right. Anyway.
Well, threat is everything. Opportunity is not dying. Strengths, We have an idea what we're going into.
We'll talk.
We don't know what we're going into.
We'll talk in about 8 minutes.
Yeah.